When I was much younger, I'm talking over a decade ago, I was 26 a decade ago. Yikes. A decade and a half, let's just say 18. When I was in college, I used to sell supplements for a store. I won't tell you the name of it, but it was a really big brick and mortar store. And when I was in there, I learned that much of what I was selling, about 90% of it was actually garbage. You didn't actually need it. I was actually selling products that I knew the consumer didn't actually need to help further their fitness career or whatever sports or nutritional goals they had. But I did learn that many of the supplements that were there had commonality amongst them. So those common found things were the things that I figured I would also learn to, if I couldn't get it in my actual whole diet, I would learn to get it through the supplements that were there in the store. But I didn't need everything that was there in the store. There were some common things that I knew were conducive to my goal. My goal, as many of the world's goals are, which is to build muscle mass and lower body fat, a big part of that was contingent upon giving my body what it needed. What it needs the most is protein. And what is protein? Well, protein is the composition of a series of branched chain amino acids along with other amino acids found naturally present in the body. So I realized, you know what? I can take on an actual protein supplement on a regular basis. But from there, how do I keep the amino acids that my body did not naturally have in position? So I found branched chain amino acids in the store. Now I was stuck with trying to find which branched chain amino acids were best to let me get what I needed, but not a whole bunch of junk and filler. Back then, a lot of things weren't micronized. Micronized is the concept of, let's just take a jar of water, 2 jars of water, if you will. You put a bunch of sand into one jar and you shake it up really hard, and still the sand will be there. It doesn't really dissolve very well. Now, something micronized, if you put it into the jar, let's just say it was something more like a refined salt in its consistency. When you shake it up really well, it dissolved easily. In fact, you can actually stir it and it dissolved really well. So I knew, okay, at this point in time here, I don't want to have this non-micronized stuff. It'll never wash down well. So it narrowed down the list of products I would use to being micronized only. That way my body could actually break it down and actually get what it needed out of the supplement. What I'm saying is a lot of our products that we have now with our line here at Heatxtreme are micronized. So you'll find that a simple spoon or a few shakes in a shaker bottle are plenty enough to dissolve it. There's nothing worse than having a gritty taste or a gritty texture behind your drink. Further than that, I was trying to figure out what else I would need to help my body to lower fat and increase muscle mass. I found at the same time when I was pursuing, lots of weights. I was young, so I was lifting a lot of heavy weights. In the meantime, my joints were wearing out. Like, my joints are hurting. Like, how do I keep my joints from further damaging themselves? How do I keep my tendons nice and strong and supple, nice and malleable the whole time? I realized at that point in time here that half the supplements that were out there were actually garbage, and the bioavailability, which means the body's ability to uptake it, wasn't that great. But I did find one supplement that was. It wasn't largely produced, but it was still out there in the market. It was called collagen. So collagen at that point in time, it was never non-flavored. It was always typically flavored. So I had to mix this collagen into whatever taste it was and kind of get it down. But the ultimate point was collagen was going to help me to repair my joints. As a bodybuilder, our joints take a real heavy beating. As an everyday gym goer, your joints are also going to accumulate some wear and tear. So trying to combat that was the biggest thing I was trying to do at the same time here. So collagen was the best way to go for that. The good thing now, though, fast forward to where I am so happy to be a part of the company that helps me to formulate these products, is the collagen is flavorless. So now I can put the collagen inside of anything, a few stirs, a shake or two, and voila, there it goes. I can actually drink it down much easier. It's not some preset flavor. So an unflavored collagen is perfect to mix inside of anything, from your hot coffee to your BCAA mixture to your protein shake to your smoothie. Whatever you want to do, put it inside of your oatmeal. It doesn't matter. There's no taste to it. Perfectly fine. You won't even know it's there. I found myself again wondering, what's the best thing I should be using to help myself to really come out the gate, powerful and strong before my workout. And I knew at this point in time here that I was eating all that I should be eating, so my body had what it needed for fuel at a cellular level. There was ample amounts of fuel there at a cellular level, but how do I get that nice little jump out the gate? Kind of like cables on a car, jumper cables on a car. It jumps the car. How to get my body jolted and ready to get down the line. This awesome strength training workout. Pre-workout is my way to go. So I find myself in a vast pool of different types of pre-workouts, but which one was the best for me? So I found myself trying to deduce the best one in a sea of different pre-workouts. I found that the pre-workouts that have the less artificial sweeteners dealt best with me. Because when I had a pre-workout that had a lot of artificial sweeteners inside of it, it surged my insulin levels. So now my insulin's been spiked needlessly for no reason. I wasn't having any kind of insulin sensitivity issues, but I do realize that that can be a thing over time if you're consistently taking in copious amounts of artificial sweeteners. So I found myself trying to narrow down this large variety of pre-workouts to something that was less of a less filled with artificial sweeteners. So I was down to about 5 or 6 products. But even then, those 5 or 6 products had a ton of caffeine and caffeine derivatives that was giving me a real harsh feeling. Like I felt great for the workout, but I felt bad post because I was crashing afterwards. So this great, awesome high from the workout, this natural feeling of, I just accomplished something well, was almost always preceded by a feeling of just, adrenal fatigue, which would come from having too much of a jolt at one point in time. So it narrowed itself down to another select few products that I would use. The cool thing now is being part of this company, Heatxtreme, is that we have a product that is a pre-workout minus everything I discussed a moment ago. There is no copious amount of artificial sweeteners. At the same time, it's not just jam-packed with tons of caffeine and caffeine derivatives that aren't good for my body, because now I'm 36. I will tell you this, I do try and watch my blood pressure because too much of that stuff just isn't good for you. It sends your BP through the roof, which is counterintuitive to health, So again, so happy to have that pre-workout in position there. So those are my top favorite supplements that I really leaned upon a ton. I do know also that on behalf of my body taking in more of what it needs to repair itself, phytonutrients is oftentimes overlooked. I must admit, I'm very guilty of that. It's easy for me to go days on end without having, brightly colored vegetables and fruits. Those brightly colored vegetables and fruits offer different types of phytonutrients and vitamins and minerals that our body needs. So I found myself using a supplement like greens. It was just a great way to make sure I was going to make sure that I got all that my body needed. It also helped me out because I was eating a ton of food, still eat a ton of food. I'm trying to, build muscle mass. But I was finding my bowels to actually be slowed or not quite the same. With greens, it's not a laxative by any means, but it gives my body what it needs to keep my body efficient, which is the light bulb going off, ding. Because if my body isn't properly uptaking the nutrients, what good is eating it? So I got this really very awesomely mapped out plan of foods to eat, and I'm consuming them on a regular basis. But what's the point if my body isn't uptaking all that meal had to offer me? So greens was an obvious decision that I had to put into my world, something to give me what I needed to properly uptake my nutrition. Those are my top supplements. I've always kept them in position. Now I'm so happy to have them here with Heatxtreme because, I know it's inside of the product and it's safe for myself, my mom, my dad, my wife, my children. My children don't take caffeinated products, but greens and collagen, perfectly fine for those guys as well. So that's my whole deal as to why I choose the supplements that I choose, because I have the background knowledge and a history in seeing the evolution of so. Right now, this is the cutting edge stuff to be using. You guys, I'm Big Ron Jones, happy to talk to you about my road and my journey in health and fitness.